All right. You're Sub Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers. We're here for another recap and pain stream of Giants versus Rams this time, or Rams versus Giants, I should say. NFL Week 6. Um, Not much else to say. You guys already know how the pain stream works. It's for y'all. I'm immediately gonna post a link in the chat. I already got one of my boys already back here, but I'm gonna immediately post a link in the chat for you guys to call in, get your thoughts in, get your thoughts out. You guys know how it works. Come on in, express it. Shout out to everybody in chat: Jaden the Chan, Cookie Monster, Yuvraj, Football Talk with Benny, Ligma, Manny, Super Taj, Luan. What's up, Luan? Ash Money. Why in the world did this man say "Hey" with a smirk, bro? I don't. Yuvraj, well, this is more of a pain stream than a therapy stream. We could party, bro. What you talking about? We could party. You just gotta give me something to party about. But what up, Nate? How you doing, man?
What's up, Kush? Couple of quick things. First off, I apologize for my tardiness by a minute. The basement that I stream from and am currently streaming from is in shambles right now. It's a mess for unimportant reasons. And second off, due to a combination of a little bit of sickness and completely screaming my lungs out at a football game a couple of days ago, my voice is still in the process of returning. So I will stay with you and support the Giants YouTube community as best I can for as long as my throat will let me. It has been an ongoing recovery process. But what's up? Good to talk to you as always. We'll get through this, guys. We'll get through this together. As a family, we'll get through it together. We will push through the pain. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Are you sure about that? I mean,
I am sure, Kush.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna need a little bit more to know why in the world you feel that way. SJW269 in here, very interesting name. Uh, and Jake Vidara, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Like I said, the link is in there. I'm gonna pin it. I guess my thoughts that I didn't get to give in the reaction video. Quick recap of that reaction video, as all of my reaction videos this year. What up, Edward? There's been no structure to it. I try to make it as fresh and authentic as possible. Like literally right after the game, I just turn on OBS and immediately spew my thoughts.
I like that
I
you chose
mean,
the word spew. That feels appropriate.
right? It's like I don't know what else feels appropriate with this team. To be honest with you, um, oh man, it's hard to cheer for this team, man.
If it
It
were
is
easy, everyone would do
hard.
it.
Like it's hard, and obviously you still see me rocking blue because I'm still a Giants fan, of course. At the end of the day, um, I don't know, Luan. You gonna need to call in and let me know why you believe that, but I don't know about that. But
Yeah, that's something, Luann. That's
with
a
all of
strong
our
take.
injuries, man, with all of our injuries and like the people that got re-injured, the players that got re-injured during this game and during the week, I said I would prefer if we not play certain players because I want them to be at this point as protected as possible for the season. I never said anything like sit them for the rest of this season because there's still like 10 games left, but I did say give them the extra week, man. Daniel, I don't know. I mean, Daniel looked fine for the most part, but I still would. I mean, a concussion is such a serious thing. We all know the stories with concussion, CTE in the NFL by this point. It's one that's beaten to death. So that was, I think that was a good enough reason to sit him this week. They elected not to do that. I really wanted Andrew Thomas to sit. I wanted Kadarius. Well, actually, no, I did not want Kadarius to sit. Let
I
me take
did.
that back because I
I
don't
wanted
think
him to.
you wanted him to sit, right?
I did.
Even though I saw that he was hobbled, I didn't think it was that serious that he'd probably get injured. And now we're missing basically our best playmaker. Um, who got re-injured during this game? Whose name that I'm forgetting, man?
Re-injured.
Yeah, I think it
I,
might have been just Andrew Thomas, huh?
Andrew Thomas and Kadarius Toney both.
Yeah,
And then I know Nate Solder injured himself, which doesn't matter at all. You might as well put Bobby Skinner in at left tackle, and he'll do just as well, if not better. Um, there was another player that got injured, and I cannot remember for the life of me who it was. My brain has sort of CJ Board. That's who it was. Thank you, Ligma.
yes, he broke his
Thank you,
hand.
Ligma. I think at this point with injuries, we've kind of reached a point where the football gods are no longer taking a gigantic dump on us, as I previously described it. The football gods are trying to send a message. And in a moment like this, all you can do is hope and pray and cross your fingers that that message is successfully received by ownership. At the moment, it's a bit early to judge, since it was just yesterday, the game, whether that message has been received by John Mara and Steve Tisch. It's difficult to know. A lot of us like to speculate that men like Dave Gettleman will not be in the building next year. It's what we'd like to hope. It's impossible to know for sure. We are not the owners. We don't have the privilege of speaking with them. For me, it's just kind of, we're in a place where nothing's going right. And at the moment, I think collectively, at least for the majority of fans, we've hit a point where we understand the best thing for this team, for any reason, for any number of reasons, for whoever you put the blame on for everything that's going wrong, the best thing for the team at the moment is to hit refresh and to just start clean. None of this fire the GM, keep the head coach, fire the head coach, keep the GM nonsense. Just start clean. Start from the bedrock of what you have in young, talented players like Andrew Thomas and Kadarius Toney and Xavier McKinney and people like that. Start from there. You have some nice draft capital. Trade what you can to get more. And start from there and build up. Unfortunately, one of the things that I personally fear, and we saw manifested at least in a beginning stage.
Keep speaking. I'm just going to turn off the camera for 1 second.
Sure. One of the things that I feared and was manifested to begin with against the Rams is the fact that Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman, obviously, are not going to see it that way. They believe in what they're doing, and that's good. You want a coach and you want a GM to believe in what they're doing, to believe in the process, all the things that Joe Judge says and doesn't actually practice. Unfortunately, what that means for us is that they're going to try and make moves that allow them to be as successful as possible to try and keep their jobs. And that is not in the long-term interest of this team. You saw that when Kadarius Toney and Andrew Thomas both played through injuries, when we've had guys playing through injuries this year, because Joe Judge wants to keep his job. He wants to win games if he can. He wants to steal a couple against good teams like the Rams if he could. And in order to do that, he's got to push it with injuries. And I think myself and Kush both thought that Andrew Thomas should not be playing this week. I personally didn't see a point. I think this game was absolutely a nightmare. It was a blowout. It was terrible. But even if Andrew Thomas and Kadarius Toney had both stayed and played the whole way, maybe we could have kept it close. I just don't think we had a chance against this Rams team. I don't think so. But with that said, they went out there and they got re-injured. And that was sort of the worst case scenario for me, and that was realized. Now Thomas apparently has injuries in both feet. Kadarius Toney's ankle injury is re-aggravated, which is just awful to hear for a receiver. That's why, by the way, I didn't want him to play. For me, when it comes to a receiver and it comes to the feet, the ankles, the lower body in general, no chances taken. But that's neither here nor there at this point because he's already re-injured it. At this point, we've gotten our best young players injured. We're sticking Daniel Jones out there on the line for no good reason. He's going to be the tragic victim of all this, by the way. And we're trending towards the trade deadline. And at this point, one of the things that I fear personally is that Dave Gettleman, in a last-ditch effort to save his job, is going to go shopping at the deadline and try and bring in talent to win late games. And that's going to screw us for the future and make it difficult to start clean because maybe we don't have as much draft capital as we should. Maybe we have even more bloated contracts that we shouldn't be taking on. And that's going to be an even bigger problem. So for me, it's easy to see where this team should go. I have no reason to believe it will go there. And that's the real problem. Because let's be honest, John Mara has not showed that he has the ability to be a competent owner. He's not showed the ability to live up to Wellington Mara's legacy, if that makes sense. And I think Yankees fans in chat will understand this feeling so well because we've been living through the Hal Steinbrenner era, which has been just a train wreck start to finish. And when you have bad ownership, it's the worst kind of hell because no one can fire the owner. You can fire a general manager, you can fire coaches, you can get rid of players. No one can fire the owner. Washington will tell you, Cleveland will tell you, the Bears will tell you, the Chargers will tell you. Anyone with bad ownership in this league will tell you it is a true hell to go through, and it's incredibly difficult to start fresh, which is what we're trying to do right now, and I don't know if we're going to be able to.
Um, Real quick, shout out to Joseph Balby, Giovanni Reyes, Sunday in here. What up, Sunday? Always great to have you on. Luann, just scrolling down. Taj Levance, Eric Garrison, Jay Horbs, NYG True Fan. I think I got everybody that tuned in. Okay, yeah. So I basically agree with everything you're saying. I really want Luann, if you can, to call in because she still believes in the team. I want you don't have to show your face. You just need audio because I need you to convince me of what you're saying.
Hey, we all need some optimism in our lives right now. If you can provide that, Luann, I am all for it.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? And once again, it's for anybody, it's for you guys. I'm gonna pop on Mike Nixon in one hot second because he's the one person behind here. But first,
Oh, by
I'll
the way,
say
sorry.
this.
Sorry, real quick, before you say this, I know this is important. I need to address Joseph in chat because he is going to keep typing this as long as I don't acknowledge it. Joseph, my man, you got some dog in you. I can tell. I understand that. And I can tell you've been feeling good on the football field this year. You are still about 5 years younger than me. I'm kidding. That's not true. The point being, though, let's chill out here. Anyway, continue.
All right. Like I said, the link is there for anybody that wants to call in. Joseph and Nate, of course, both play football. I think Joseph had a great game the other day. So, he got some optimism there, building his young
Hey, man.
career.
Ball
One thing
out,
I
bro.
will say is that if we are going to start fresh, when is the last time we had some type of overturn in the scouting department? Have we had the same scouts over the past 5 years?
I mean, there's a clip that Bill Belichick was talking to Tom Brady when they came to Giants Stadium some number of years back. And he said, look around at all these guys. These are the same guys that have been here since I've been in the league. This is one of those organizations where no one ever leaves. And my God, that is unfortunately true. Look at our athletic trainer who has now become an internet meme because he's older than, it is 12 and a half minutes into the stream, I can't swear. He's older than anything.
Dust.
I mean, come on.
I mean, we also, Ronnie Barnes, the guy we have, I think our head doctor, has also been here for like at least 30, 40 years, I want to say. It's an estimate, and I know he's respected. I was in the Twitter spaces yesterday. Shout out to Eli Rax and Pest on Twitter. We hosted Twitter space after the game. A fan came at me because they were saying to Ryan Barnes, one of the most respected guys in the league. Other teams go to him for opinions. I'm like, that's great and all, but has he kept our own team healthy?
Yeah.
Over the past 5 to 10 years? Nah, he hasn't. I mean, like when it comes to stuff like the training staff, the athletic staff, the doctors, that I'm not saying obviously they're the cause for injury, but like at this point, they're obviously not doing something right. Where I think the Giants are one of the most, if not the most, injured teams over the past 5 years in the NFL, right? So there needs to be a change there, and I have no idea if they've been the same or if there's been overturn there. Same thing with the scouting department. Because you could change a GM, you could change a head coach. If the same guys are scouting, I mean, how are they changing their ways? You know what I'm saying? How is talent evaluation? How do we really critique that? There's nothing for us to say is different from the previous years. You know what I'm saying?
I absolutely agree 100%.
So if there's any type of clean house, how about they actually legitimately clean house this time and get rid of everybody? You know what I mean? And I know that's hard, but it is what it is. I see. I think that's Decepticon. It says in the back here as well, or Deception. But first, we're gonna get Mike Nixon on, and then we'll get him on. Mike, what's up, man? Hit Squad, bro. I'd love to have you call in and have your thoughts, man. Shout out to Brooklyn Squad, bro.
What's up, Hub?
What up, Mike? How you doing?
I'm just mentally drained from this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just mentally drained.
It really do be like that.
Yep. And I'm all for just letting everyone go.
Yeah.
I wanted to have faith in Judge, but Judge hasn't done anything that he said he would do.
Yeah. At the moment, he seems like a bag of hot air. And we do need to talk about Joe Judge, and we will. But Sunday, real quick, is talking about what you were talking about, Kush, with the medical staff and the fact that we've got players playing through injuries like that. On some level, I think, and someone that maybe someone does have experience in an NFL front office coaching staff setting, maybe they have some inside baseball knowledge they can give me here. But as far as I'm aware, usually that doesn't end up being the medical staff's decision.
Isn't it the coach's decision at the end of the day?
They give the opinion they give their best advice and they advise the coach, and the coach and the player come to the decision together. But with that being said, I still do think with the medical staff and with the scouting department that you're talking about, Kush, I agree 100%. And the old saying that I'll paraphrase here is once is bad luck, twice is a couple of accidents, this many times is a pattern. And when you have a pattern like this, something's got to change. Anyway, Mike, please continue about Joe Judge.
Also, I think the injuries have a lot to do with the trash ass turf that we have.
I mean, MetLife has got to be cursed, bro.
And I was watching Mrs. video today. They should just go back to grass.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree.
Well, I'll say this. Talking about MetLife, first off, I will say I have never had as strong of feelings about MetLife in either direction as a lot of people do. Most people tend to hate it. For me, I hesitate to say I don't believe in curses because I do. On some level, all sports fans we're like that. We're superstitious. You know, I mean, I play baseball. We're all superstitious in this game. But with MetLife Stadium, I don't necessarily think that's a curse. I also feel the need to point out that this past game against the Cowboys, where we had all those horrific injuries, was in Dallas, so you can't really blame the turf for that. But I do acknowledge that a lot of that needs to be looked into. In terms of grass in MetLife Stadium, you also have to understand the maintenance side of that will be incredibly difficult considering two teams play in MetLife.
Yeah.
And considering that's a whole lot more damage to grass done over the course of a season than they'd typically expect.
Yeah.
So I don't know if grass is super realistic there. But with regards to MetLife in general, personally, I think if a lot of Giants fans maybe don't understand, the history behind why the Giants are even in New Jersey in the first place, it's got some deep roots. There's some rich history there. There's a lot of beef between the organization and the city of New York. There's a lot of stuff that went down there. And if you don't know, I really encourage you to go look at that. It's very interesting. But I think at this point, they belong in New Jersey. I think they belong right where they are. I think they've built sort of a culture, and the fan base has taken root around that location and taken sort of part of the coloring in, so to speak, of the fan base has become part of that. So I wouldn't necessarily say move out of MetLife. I would say maybe do some renovating. Make it look less like a spaceship and more like a stadium.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. What else you got, man?
That's basically all.
Yeah,
That's it?
Yeah, with Painstream, I mean, what else is there to say, really? It's that kind of era in Giants football right now. And you said, Hub, and I bet Mike has been a Giants fan for a lot longer than I have. So I bet he'll understand where I'm coming from when I say this. I would like to say to you, Kush, and all Giants fans, and to everyone listening, the same thing I said at the beginning of the stream, which is it's going to be okay. We're going to make it through this. It won't be easy. We'll make it through this together as fans. And Mike has seen a lot of rise and a lot of fall in this team. And a lot of Giants fans that are very prominent in this community, like Chris, Bad Dog, License Plate Guy, Authentic, they have seen a lot of rise and a lot of fall in this team. And eventually, we will get back where we need to be. We're in a bad place.
Yeah.
But eventually, we will be having a party on stream like someone, I forget who it was, asked you, Kush. Eventually, we'll get there, guys. We'll get there. It's going to be okay.
We'll see.
I know.
I'm
Mike,
ready to be therapist Nate. I'm ready to take on this role if I need to. It's gonna be okay.
Mike, earlier when we had a brief chance to talk on Discord, though, you had a couple words for Joe Judge, didn't you?
Oh, Joe Clown?
Yeah, that's what he called him.
Yeah. Joe Clown, Joe I mean, he lied to us. And it's disheartening as a Giants fan knowing our head coach lied to us.
Yeah, I think with regards to that feeling, it feels like we've been stabbed in the back, and it's something as Giants fans, unfortunately, we're used to at this point, because we've gone through so many coaches in the last few years. We've gone through a lot of different staff. We've gone through a lot of talking faces, and at this point, I think a lot of us are fed up and tired of that. And when Joe Judge came in, he was saying a lot of stuff that felt refreshing. All the things he was saying was hitting the right notes. It was playing on what we wanted. It was playing on, like I was saying earlier, the culture that this fan base has developed. And that's why he was so popular initially. And I think that just made it even more excruciating when we all collectively came to the realization that it was all talk. Because at the moment, hey, I know it's 1.5 years in. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the 1 in 200 will hit and Judge will still somehow end up taking this team places. But at the moment, it sure as hell seems like he was full of crap. And it just hurts even more considering he was the first guy in a while we put such big expectations on.
And forgetting Judge for a second, yeah, this Eddie, I saw this Leo quote right after game where he said he doesn't like to hear the fans boo, that he doesn't think it's necessary. And I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know what fans are? Do you know what playing in any sport is, bro? Like what? That just makes no sense to me. I couldn't believe he had the audacity to say that.
yeah, and on that note, there's a lot that can be said about Leonard Williams there. And on some level, I think someone did say it on Twitter, and it needed to be said because a lot of people were jumping on that hate train a little too fast. He was asked the question, how do you feel about getting booed? There's not really a great answer for that. But at the same time, yeah, I agree. Listen, you don't like getting booed. It's 22 minutes in. I hate that it's only 22 minutes in. If you don't like getting booed, play better. It's that simple. And you showed up
Yeah.
against the Rams, and that's why a lot of people aren't blasting him right now. But if you don't like getting booed, put a product on the field that won't get booed. NFL fandom is, in large part, with a few rare exceptions, completely unbiased. The NFL is a world where fans have simple expectations, high expectations, but simple expectations. The NFL is a world where you have a very simple job relative to a lot of other jobs and difficulties in the world, and you have to go out there and you do your job, and if you do your job, you are the most beloved person in any given city. And the thing is, when Leonard Williams and the rest of this defense are playing as atrociously as they have for the start of this year, after having such expectations placed on them, you can't expect anything less than a New York boo. And that's what they were getting. They were getting New
Yep.
York attitude. You play for the Giants, my man. You do not play for a team in the Midwest. You don't play for a nice fan base. You don't play for a fan base that is just happy to have a team. No. You play in New York. You play in New Jersey, specifically. This is not a kind, polite group of people. This is a group of people that has become accustomed to and expects success. This is a group of people that does not want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear whining. They don't care how you feel. They care how you play. And so far, with the exception of a couple good plays in the Rams game, Leonard Williams, for any number of reasons, has been playing like crap. And the defense has been playing even worse. So if you don't like boos, play better.
Go ahead, Mike.
I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
The fans pay their hard-earned money to go to games.
We pay their
They-
contracts.
Yeah. They have every right to boo when you don't perform.
Yeah.
I
Anything else? Oh yeah, go ahead, man. My bad.
I just think major change needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. Not after the season. It needs to be done now.
And that kind of hits on what I was talking about earlier, which is that I'm afraid Dave Gettleman, in an attempt to save his job, will ruin our future because we do have a decent future right now, and I agree that in order to prevent that, we ought to fire him now.
Yeah. And also the trade deadline is in 2 weeks. And I'm selling I'm being a major seller at the trade deadline. Evan Ingram, uh, Will Hernandez, if he isn't part of our future. Uh, I'll even go as much as saying Trey Bradbury.
I don't know about that one. Ooh, I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah. I'll say this. I think with regards to how James Bradbury's been playing this year, he's been terrible. There's no good way to put it. James Bradbury
Mm-hmm.
has been awful. He has been playing just terrible football. And Kush has brought up in the past a very valid point, which is that in a lot of reps, Patrick Graham has not been putting him in position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as valid as that is, my big saying that I will harp on until the end of time with regards to football is control the controllables. And James Bradbury's controllables are when you are in one-on-one man coverage, pressed up against the other team's best receiver. Your job is to be the shutdown corner we paid you to be. And
Mm-hmm.
at the moment, he has been playing like burnt toast. I think a lot of people failed to understand what really happened on the play where he got that pick against the Saints. What really happened there was Callaway absolutely toasted his ass on a double move that wasn't really that good for
Mm-hmm.
about 3 or 4 yards of deep separation. And then because Jameis Winston wasn't in the game, he got to go duck hunting on Taysom Hill, who threw up a disgusting pass that never should have been thrown in the first place. Make no
Mm-hmm.
mistake, he lost that rep, and he lost that rep badly. So I think right now I'm seeing James Bradbury as the Corey Webster Antrell Roll dilemma of this team, where 1 year we got one corner playing well and the other's playing terrible. The next year they flip-flop. That's just what it's looking like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, anything else before I pop on deception here?
Just as always, it's been good talking to you and to Nate as well.
Always good to talk to you, Mike.
For sure, man. Thank you for tuning in, bro. Have a good one,
And
man.
by the way, Hub,
hmm
let's go Knicks.
Yeah, man. Knicks in 2 days.
Yep.
Knicks in 2 days.
Hopefully, their season brings us nothing but joy.
hmm
Knock on
To
wood, Mike. Knock on wood.
so we can forget about this horrific Giants season.
hmm
Yeah.
Mike,
And,
we hope so, man.
Yeah.
And while Kush is popping Mike out and bringing in our next guest, I have a quick thing to say on the Knicks. This is going to be my first year actually following the Knicks as a fan. Kush and a lot of other people have dragged me in. I am locked in, along for the ride at this point. I'm sitting in the front car of the roller coaster. I'm not going to be entirely sure what I'm looking at because basketball still looks like organized chaos to me. I'll learn as I go, and I'm excited because it seems like this Knicks team has some young talent. I'm excited to see how these new acquisitions play. I'm excited to see how R.J. Barrett plays. It should be fun. And Kush, I swear, if you've dragged me onto a sinking ship, I will end you. Okay,
Hey,
next
man.
guest.
All right, bro. All that sounds like to me is you're not willing to put in the loyalty. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Luann, once again, I need you to call in because you're saying a lot of things I'd love to talk to you about because Luann still believes in the Giants. So that there's definitely some fans out there that still believe in them. Tyler Terry, to answer your question, he said, any news on Tony, Thomas, and Galladay? I don't have any on Galladay, but regarding Tony and Thomas, this is a tweet from Jordan Renan 4 hours ago. He said Andrew Thomas now has a foot and ankle injury, one on his right foot, the other on his left. So both of this man's feet are injured. Kadarius Toney aggravated his ankle injury, and he's getting more tests on Monday. Rookie Aaron Robinson and Emerson Smith will practice, and they're basically going to start working their way into the season starting this week. Shout out to Mark P. tuning in, Zachary, Justin, Griminator. What's up, y'all? Once again, the link is pinned for anybody that wants to call in. We got Deception, and then my boy Brooklyn Hit Squad is also in here. We're going to pop him on after Deception. Deception, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen? I really appreciate you having me on. This is my first time ever calling in.
Hey,
No
welcome
problem,
to the
man.
channel,
Thank
bro.
you for calling in.
Yeah, no worries. I want to say you have a really nice backstage area. Your receptionist was very kind. She gave me a big old bowl of blue M&Ms, so I was very comfy waiting. So,
No
yeah,
drink. I'm gonna have to write that down.
yeah, no drink, unfortunately. And she didn't even ask. So,
Fire.
I don't know. I'm
So
gonna have to take back that compliment I just said about her. Then,
I might have to get a new one.
it's unfortunate.
yeah, no, I mean, the reason why I was gonna call in the first place, and Mike Nixon, he kind of brought up my same point. Is I don't think we have a horrible roster. I think we've just been decimated by injuries, and I think that has a lot to do with our athletic trainers and also the turf at our home stadium. I think especially with the lower leg injuries that have been happening with all of our playmakers recently, I think that's got a big part to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you? Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, sure. I think that's very possible. I will never pretend to be an expert on something I'm not. I don't believe in it, so I'm not going to talk out of my ass on the turf. As far as I'm aware, I have not read anything with like testing that's been done or something like that about MetLife's turf. But I agree. There's definitely a pattern starting to build here.
No,
and
yeah,
should be something we look at.
And I don't want to be like, oh, it's just the turf, like just
Sure.
blaming everything but the team. But it seems like come to play at MetLife, they have the same issues and they have the same complaints. So maybe there's some kind of validity to that.
Sure.
And this is the thing I said earlier. I'm not sure if you were in here when I said it, but I was asking Nate. This was both about our scouting department and our training department and medical staff and anything you want to think of. Every time we quote unquote clean house or we get a new coaching staff with a new GM, my question is, when's the last time we actually changed that training staff? We changed the medical staff, the athletic staff, and the scouting guys. Because if they've been the same over the past 10 years, I feel like that plays into the pattern of problems we had in the past 10 years.
Right, and I don't think we would be having a therapy session stream if we had all of our players on the field. Because when we have Shepard, we have Galladay, we have Tony, we have Barkley all on the field, we actually can put up some points. I mean, besides the red zone, which is a totally separate issue, I think we have a completely competitive roster, and I think we've just kind of lost that due to the injuries that we've had so early in the season. And like I said, I think a big part to that is the turf at MetLife and our athletic trainers and our medical staff.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, like, I don't know how much you can fault coaching. Like, people want to dog on Joe Judge, but I mean, what would you do in that situation when your left tackle's out, your top 4 wide receivers are out, your number 1 running back is out? There's not a whole lot you can do. And so I don't necessarily want to put a whole bunch of blame on Judge or on Jason Garrett. I mean, Patrick Graham's a whole other issue we could talk about because it seems like our defense is relatively healthy. Right.
Yeah.
This is what I'll ask you. Because there are a lot of people that want to. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm very angry and disappointed with Joe Judge, but I don't know if I'm fire him yet, right? Because it's something that I'm so torn about. Because I don't want to fall into the pattern of firing a coach every 2 years, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I think we need to be patient as a fan base and at least give him at least 1 more year. And if we're not happy with Dave Gettleman, maybe elevate Kevin Abrams to GM just for the 1 year, just to give Joe Judge 1 extra year. And then if it doesn't work out, then you can just tear the whole thing down.
Okay, so you and Kush are making a very valid point. It's one I've seen a lot of. And I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and continuity is one of the most underratedly important things in the NFL. It definitely is. I absolutely agree, and I will be the first one to tell you I don't like firing a coach after 2 years. It sucks. It's terrible. I believe
it's not just firing him after 2 years. This is his first year, or this is his second year as a head coach in general. So I just want to give him the time to grow and learn from his experiences, because it's not like he's already been a head coach for 5-6 years on another team and then coming to the Giants and we're seeing the same things that happened at the other team. It's like, we got to give this guy time to acclimate himself to being a head coach. You know what I mean?
Well, here's my counterpoint to that and sort of the rest of what you and Kush are saying here. I think at this point, everything you're saying makes sense relative to what Judge should be getting and what should be fair to him as a coach. That's definitely really absolutely true. Unfortunately, it's my opinion, and it's the opinion of a lot of people, that that's just not what's in the best interest of the team at this moment. And to expand on that, I think you're hitting on something that is one of the most frustrating things about this team right now. It's not Taylor Lewin being carted off the field. That sucks. It's not just that we're bad. It's the reasons we're bad, and it's not one reason. It's everything. And when everything's going wrong, you're sort of at this point where you hit with a lot of sports teams. I think the Yankees are also at this point, for any baseball fans still in chat somehow. I think a lot of Knicks fans have said they were at this point a lot of times over the last however many years. Sometimes when it's just all going wrong, you just have to blow it up. And I think that's where the Giants are right now. And I say that because with all of the systemic problems going on, and I recognize Judge has only had at this point a year and a half, and I recognize you want to give a head coach a little bit more time than that. But at the same time, if we fall into this pattern, we're talking about the pattern of firing a coach every couple of years. How about the pattern of fire the GM, don't fire the coach. Fire the coach, don't fire the GM. There's no continuity in that.
Right.
And at that point, you're talking about trying to just get this team a fresh start, which is what I think they need. And if you're keeping Judge, you're probably keeping those coordinators. And at that point, a lot of us have problems with that too. And we also can't pretend, and I know Judge needs room to grow, we also can't pretend that Joe Judge is blameless. He's made a lot of mistakes this year.
No, and I 100% agree. And I'm not
a young head coach. I know he needs room to grow. But at the same time, if you're going to try and take that time and grow, that's great. Personally, as a Giants fan, I want a coach that doesn't need that time. I want a guy that's ready to take this team where it needs to go.
Right. So we would probably be looking for an experienced head coach. My only problem with and I'd be okay with blowing it up. I don't have a problem with that. My problem is this last offseason, we just signed a lot of mega deals. And so if we bring in a new GM, a new head coach, they're going to be tied to those players. So realistically, I would like to have this go for one more year. Let those, try to pay off, all those deals that we have as much as we can so that the new GM, the new head coach have the freedom to drop some of those players and bring in their own. Because right now they'd be kind of married to them.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think in a lot of ways, we've dug ourselves a deep hole here, to be sure. And I think what you're saying right now, what you and Kush are saying right now, is exactly the middle of the road solution that I'm praying for, because I'm trying to avoid the worst case scenario, which is that we do half of what you're saying and botch it completely, which is to say we don't end up sticking the course, but we also don't end up making big changes, which is just an absolute. We are at 38 minutes, an absolute clusterfuck waiting to happen. That's a problem.
Right, and I'm all for making big changes. I think this team does need big changes, but I don't want to handcuff our next coach, our next GM, to the players that have already been brought in for this regime.
And
so I was thinking.
Yeah. So please finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I was thinking, if we give them another year, let these contracts, wear out for another year, so it gives the next regime more freedom to trade away these players, drop these players. And be able to bring in the people that they want, because otherwise we're going to bring in another regime. They're going to have the same players, and then we're going to be blaming them for the same sins that this regime had. And so that's really the only problem I have. But and honestly, I don't think this team is super far away from really being competitive. Like if we go into this draft,
that's the most frustrating thing. Yeah.
Right. If we go into this draft, we bring in we get another tackle, we get some interior offensive line, we bring in a pass rusher. And I think we also need a true free safety, a true deep middle safety.
That's a complicated discussion to have, but I agree in a lot of ways.
Right. So, and I feel like with these picks that we have coming up in this draft, and I feel like it's kind of rich in everything that we need.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to wait and see what these guys can do with all the pieces around them. But again, I think the fault really lies in our medical staff, our training. And like I said, the turf. I just I keep going back to that, but I really feel like it's a big problem.
Well, this is where I want to ask Deception one thing. Because we've kind of, since he got on the call, we've kind of been saying the same thing. Whereas I don't want to start firing coaches, every 2 years and whatnot. But what I will ask you, and you did say, you admitted Judge isn't exactly blame free here. So how much do you put on him for before the injuries happen? So like, let's say the first 4 weeks of the season, where there's mistakes that according to himself the coach shouldn't have been happening.
that's another weird thing too, because he came out and said that he treats the first month of the regular season like an extension of the preseason.
I can't.
So
that
were those mistakes? That they were making, where they were not putting players in positions to succeed? Is that because they were treating it like a preseason and not treating it like a
also,
serious
lack of discipline? I think at one point we were one of the most penalized teams in the league. You talk about fundamentals
Right.
like missing tackles and stuff.
Well, really quickly on that note, and I do want to talk about what Zachary's super chat is. So if you don't mind, I'll read that and then build off what he's saying. But real quick on that note, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Control the controllables. And one of the reasons that I'm at the end of my rope with a lot of these coaches, Judge included, is that they aren't controlling those controllables. The things, and again, this is what makes it so frustrating, the whole situation. The problems are exactly the ones we shouldn't be having. There's plenty of things that should, on paper, be wrong with this team, and some are, some aren't. But the reason we're killing ourselves is everything we expected to go well has gone wrong. And on this note, Zachary, $5, says, this is 2017 all over again. We need to clean house from top to bottom. We have 35 players signed in 2022, and we can't keep pushing contracts back. Mera is bad. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this would have been, Kush wanted to ask about Joe Judge and that accountability. This is what I was going to say in response to what Deception was saying. I think if you do want to give them another year, I kind of understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, if you're doing it with the understanding that the odds are probably against them and the understanding that it's a one more year quotation marks kind of deal, I would just so much rather rip the Band-Aid off now. Because at that point, you're giving them another year, and what are they going to do? They're going to try and keep moving this forward and trying to just wiggle into more time and give it more time to work. And if it doesn't work, at that point, you're even deeper in debt and you're losing more money to casino. So for me, I would rather rip the Band-Aid off now, get a new staff in there, get a new GM in there, and let him try and dig out from where we've gotten ourselves.
Yeah, go ahead there.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. If we do bring in a new GM now, I don't want him to have all the baggage and all the blame from the players that are already on the roster. And I know I've already said this, but if a new GM comes in now and he's tied to Leonard Williams' contract and Kenny Galladay's contract, and then us as fans, we're looking at him like, why aren't you bringing in this player, or why aren't you drafting this player? And it's like, well, really, he's kind of just babysitting a team that he didn't build, at least for the first few years until these contracts wear out. So that's really the only reason why I don't want to bring in a new GM just yet, because I'd want him to have the freedom to kind of do what he needs to do. But at the same time, if you keep the current regime, they're going to continue to spend money, and they're going to continue to bring in more people, and then just keep kicking the can down the road. So I definitely see both sides to that.
Yeah.
And shout out to Arch Manning. I'm assuming Archie Manning for the $2 super chat. He says, "Don't worry,
Arch.
I'm coming to save you." Listen, Arch, you're coming out in what draft, bro? 2020 what?
2020 forever from now. This pisses me off, man.
Is it 2025?
26, I think. What pisses me off is this is a funny joke that somehow a lot of Giants fans are managing to take seriously.
Listen, it's a funny joke, but listen, hear me out.
No.
If we continue to struggle,
before
bro,
I
it's
hear you out,
2026.
before I hear you out, I need to just say this. Let me just make this as clear as possible to everyone watching this. I am older than Arch Manning. I am older than Arch Manning is. I am a senior in high school. He is a junior in high school.
Wow.
That's the guy that you are saying it's Arch Manning's season. He has not played his senior year of high school yet. He's not even halfway through his junior year.
Nate, all I'm going to say is that he's Arch Manning, bro.
It's a funny joke. Stop taking jokes seriously, please. It's killing me.
Go ahead, their Deception.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I've said everything I really wanted to say. I kind of wanted to bring up the point of why we haven't really seen Brightwell yet in the rotation since Saquon went down. I want to see more Brightwell in the rotation, and I don't know if he is playing in the box, but I think McKinney's kind of playing out of position.
McKinney needs to improve in his tackling a little bit. I've been noticing that.
Everyone he had
that issue. Yeah, he had that issue in college where he'd be too aggressive and he would miss tackles pretty regularly. But he was also known as one of the hardest hitting safeties in the NFL in college when he was there. Because when he did hit, it was pretty violent. So I haven't really seen that McKinney on the Giants yet. I thought I saw a little bit of it last year, the few games that he played, but I don't think I'm even seeing that player so far. So I don't know if it's because he's playing out of position. I feel like he's more of a box safety, and
Here's the
same thing
Deception,
with
right? Like, if there's one coach I feel like that has the least amount of excuses out of the three main ones, it's got to be Graham,
it's Graham.
right?
Because
had, like,
he's
the
got his
least
full
amount of
toolbox.
injuries. Yeah, he's had the least amount of
Except
injuries.
Martinez.
Even before Blake Martinez went down, the defense looked terrible and looked lost. He actually had a little bit of upgrades. I mean, there's no reason the defense should be looking this bad.
I agree. And I think, first off, before I even say what I think, Deception, why is this the first time you're on Hub's channel? You're bringing the flames right now, my guy.
No, I've listened to you. I mean, I listen to all the Giants content creators. I'm normally just listening, commenting, but the first time I've ever called in. So
you gotta get
hopefully I'm not making a total fool of myself.
I mean, you're crushing it. You got to get on here more often. Anyway, though, in terms
Real quick,
of
I do want to say there's a special guest popping in.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. But I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, man, I appreciate you popping on, Deception. Have a good one, man. And don't worry, Hit Squad, I will be popping you on, but this guy usually is asleep. Listen, man. Shout out to Fisk Vegas for popping in.
Yeah, what up, people?
What's up,
people,
man?
what
How
up?
you doing?
Yeah.
No, I'm chilling. I'm playing Madden, so I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
You got anything you want to say about the Giants before I pop on Hit Squad?
Yeah, check this out, right? So I want everybody to know that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how trash we are, no matter how frustrating it may be, life could be worse. This is a team that won a Super Bowl in 2007, won a Super Bowl in 2011. Okay, there's franchises out here like the Browns, like the Bills, everybody's calling us a poverty franchise. We're not a poverty franchise. We're a franchise in transition. So as bad as the Giants are right now, we trash. We are trash. We are an abomination. We are the definition of filth. Okay? We need to be washed, dried, or don't even clean. Just put us out the pasture and let us reincarnate as a better franchise. But the point I'm trying to make is it could be worse. Okay? At least we know what it's like to win. Okay? The team is not bad. We got a lot of talent. We just need a new coaching staff, and we will be fine. Okay? The sky is falling on the season, but the future is still bright. Daniel Jones is a freaking GOAT. Kadarius Toney, like I told y'all all summer long, is a freaking GOAT. And at Galladay's pace, Kadarius Toney is definitely going to lead us in receiving yards at this pace. Yeah. But, we got 2 first-round picks. We'll probably get Thibodeau or we'll get Neal, one of them picks. Life goes on, okay? We're 1-5. It is what it is. Just look forward to the draft, and go Knicks. That's pretty much it.
And before Kush hops on, I do need to say to everyone in chat, I owe Fisk for a stream earlier today that I did not go on because at the moment I'm pushing through the pain for Kush because he sent me a DM with the simple caption, L Pain, and I needed to be there for my buddy here. But I owe Fisk a stream once my throat is not burning as I speak. But as usual, speaking facts, and that's everything I was saying earlier in the stream, which is that we'll make it through this, guys. The Giants are not going to suck forever. We are not the Browns. And even the Browns are good at this point. We're not the Jaguars, all right? We will be good again. It may take a minute, but we will get through this. We'll do it together. It'll suck. It'll be a grind, but we'll make it through this. Kush, what do you want to say?
I was just going to say I'm going to pop on Hit Squad. Hit Squad, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, dog. Chilling, man. How y'all boys doing?
We good, man.
Chilling. Man, I thought you guys hit it on the head with a lot of different points. First of all, I want to say shout out Fisk, shout out Hub. Y'all do great things on this platform, man. I mean, y'all are very knowledgeable. Nate, you are a genius, man. I got to be real with you. You a genius for real, man. You really be talking that shit Oh, excuse me. We talking them facts.
No, I already broke that barrier. You're good.
Oh, okay, bet. I want to ask y'all. I mean, because my biggest fear, or one of my biggest fears, is that Gettleman goes and we just elevate Kevin Abrams. Do you see the Giants doing that? I mean, that's my biggest. That's one of my biggest fears. I got to be real with you.
It hurts that I have to say yes. I do see that happening, and it would be terrible.
Yeah. 'Cause
It's something that when I was on this stream earlier today, we talked about a little bit, which was we need to hire from outside. And it's something a lot of people have been saying, right? You know, we transitioned from Corsi to Reese to Gelman, who was here in the 90s. We're going to need somebody from the outside. That's what I am hoping for if we get rid of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because like I was saying with Deception, the last caller, I can see, you know what I'm saying? I could see a universe, I guess you could say, where the Giants do stick with it and go another year and try, with better health, or maybe, with with these contracts specifically. Because Deception brought up a really good point. We're really tied to everybody that we signed, at least for another year. You don't want to tie them to another new regime. So I could see us running it back one more year. However, but if we do blow it up, it's going to have to be somebody from the outside for me personally.
And I was talking to someone in your Discord, actually, Hub. I forget who it was. I'll check later. Someone made a recommendation for GM, and I have like candidates in mind for head coaching, but I can never know who's on the market to be a general manager. That's who cares. Someone recommended the head of player personnel for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that's an excellent idea. That is something I would be on board for, because year in, year out, the Ravens, come hell or high water, are fielding a competitive team, and they are crushing it in the draft, at least in recent years. And I would be 100% on board for that.
I like that.
I think this conversation is a moot point. Our next head coach is picking our GM. Cause you gotta understand, McAdoo was a first year head coach. Joe Judge, first year head coach. We're not going young again. The next head coach of the Giants is gonna be a Jim Harbaugh type of guy who's going to pick he's gonna pick his own coach. The same way Kyle Shanahan did in San Francisco, the same way Ron Rivera did in Washington. Our next coach is gonna run the franchise. He's gonna pick the GM. So whoever the next coach is going to be a veteran who's proven and is going to want total autonomy in the franchise. Pete Carroll, the GM in Seattle, works for Pete Carroll. The GM in Kansas City works for Andy Reid. Our next head coach is going to run the franchise. So GM discussions don't even matter, because that'll be up to our next head coach.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Nano. Let's see you have something to say.
Excuse me. Fisk, I think, is talking about what unfortunately will happen and what is likely to happen. In terms of what I'd like to happen, I think a lot of us want the opposite. I don't much care as much for youth as I do what you can actually bring to the table. I don't really care what your reputation is. I don't really care what your image is, what persona you put out, because that's the trap we fell into with Joe Judge. I want a guy that can really produce on the field. And unfortunately, we're falling into the mold or whatever of young coaches, because the guy at the top of my list is Brian Daboll, who is not young but isn't old either. For those who do not know, he is the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, and I would love him to be our head coach as an X's and O's guy, which Joe Judge did not bring to the table. He was more of a leader of men type coach. I want a guy like Brian Daboll. So for that purpose, he would definitely not be the kind of guy who comes in and picks his own GM. Unfortunately, I can definitely see where Fisk is coming from there.
Yeah, I thought, that was a good point, because I didn't look at it that way. My thing is, do you think, let's say the Giants were to do that, I mean, could you see Joe Judge bringing in his own person if they do decide to keep Judge?
No, he's fired.
No, I really don't want them to, like we said this a lot. I really don't want them to fire one and keep the other. Either keep both or fire both.
I'm there with you, man. I got to be real with you. I love Judge, but like at this point, man, you are what your record is, man. I don't know what else to say. I've tried defending Joe Judge. I mean, but I'm at a point now where it's like, it's like an ick feeling. It's just him talking pisses me off. And like when he made that car salesman reference, I said it on my stream earlier. I sell cars. I get, written up if I get bad reviews. I can get fired if I get bad reviews. And I've been told that my job, in the beginning, that I wasn't very good at it. And what did I do? I went back and I made adjustments and I got better at my job, but I got a lot of warnings, talking about my progress didn't improve. I was out of here. I was gone. So that, little example he made, it didn't really sit well with me because I feel like at any job, if your performance is bad, you get replaced. You get fired. They bring somebody in. It's just what happens. And he talks a good game, but at the end of the day, to me, at this point, it's just repetition. I can't defend him no more at this point.
I think a lot of what you're talking about right now is a 4-letter word, it seems like, in the Giants building, in the Giants front office. The A word, the 4-letter word, accountability. And there just isn't any, it seems like. There's just no accountability, no responsibility being taken. It doesn't seem like anything is anything but empty talk at the moment. And that's what's so frustrating. And I've said this before, I'll continue to say it. The frustrating thing is that everything we believed would be good has been terrible. It's not the things that we understood would be bad. We knew we didn't have a great linebacking core outside of Blake Martinez. We knew we couldn't cover tight ends. We knew we weren't going to have a great pass rush. And that sure has been frustrating to watch. But at the same time, it's the penalties. It's Patrick Graham not being able to call plays. It's Patrick Graham not being aggressive like we hoped he would. It's Joe Judge not being able to keep this team disciplined. It's the fact that on plenty of reps, not necessarily for whole games, which is a consolation prize, I guess, but for plenty of reps, players just not putting in full effort, just not buying in, which is how Joe Judge phrased it. It's that stuff that's so frustrating for us fans.
Shout out to Lauren in here with a very interesting first message. Is that describing the Giants, I'm guessing?
Before I go, I just want to ask y'all one more thing. What can this team do to salvage the season? I mean, I don't see. I know.
What can they do to what you said now?
Salvage the season.
I'll tell you this: if everybody can come back healthy somehow, if everybody could just come back healthy and Patrick Graham and this defense somehow finds a way from last year, that's the only way, I guess, man.
I mean, I don't see us winning more than five, maybe 6 games at this point. So it's like, and that even then, that still feels like a stretch. I'm gonna be real with you, because I'm looking at that Carolina defense, man. If Thomas isn't playing, which it doesn't really look like he might, I'm fearing for Daniel Jones. I gotta be real, because Hassan Reddick did a number on us last year. And they got Hassan, Brian Burns. They got a defense over there.
For me, in terms of salvaging the season, I think what I'm going to say here isn't, necessarily what you're going after. I think, for me, salvaging the season is addition by subtraction. Salvaging the season, from my point of view, is firing Dave Gettleman before he can do any extra damage to our future at the trade deadline and trying to actually start
on the
right path here.
In a second, by the way.
I'm sorry?
I said I need to speak on Gettleman in a second since you brought him up.
Yeah, sure. But before you get to that, with that said, salvaging the season in terms of wins is beyond me. If you want to, Fisk, if you want to take a crack at that nut, you can. But there is nothing in my mind I can say.
I can't think of none either.
Here's the deal. Let me ask y'all a question. What's more important to y'all? Firing Gettleman, or firing Gettleman or building for the future? What's more important?
I think they're the same thing.
Not really, because here's the deal. The Giants have a couple players that need to be traded, right? Peppers can go, Ingram can go, Logan Ryan can go, Bradbury can go. We got some players who can be dealt, right? Here's the problem. If we're firing Gettleman, we're not dealing them. And guess what? Peppers is walking out the door for nothing. Evan Ingram, even though we hate him, is walking out the door for nothing. All these contracts and stuff that we can trade away and get picks for, if we fire Gettleman, they're not going to let him make moves. They're not going to let a fired GM make deals. So what I'm saying is, the Giants are trapped right now, because what we should be doing is trading away assets like most trash-ass teams do. But we can't do that because we're going to clean house. So my thing with Gettleman is, me personally, I would I don't care if he stays a Ghost, because as far as I'm concerned, he hasn't done a bad job. But I know for a fact the next head coach we get, it's like he's gonna be a name. Like Mara has to give us a name. Like we don't give a fuck about these Randall. I'm sorry, we don't care about these Randalls no more. He's got to give us a name. So what's gonna end up happening is, like I told you, our next head coach is gonna run the franchise. But y'all gotta understand, the best thing for the team right now is to let Gettleman trade away assets. Don't fire him. Say we'll let you step down, but this is your last year. Can you do us one last favor and get us assets? That would be the most logical way to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, I understand what you're saying from the idea of the best way to move forward is trading off assets. I 100% agree. And by the way, before I move on from that, we're not only an hour in, but me and Hit Squad have both cussed. You don't have to worry about that, Fisk.
Oh, okay.
Also,
okay, cool.
But on that note, I think where I disagree with you is I don't think Gettleman would do that. I think if we do keep Gettleman, he's going to try and save his ass by trying to get wins. And at that point, I don't think he's going to trade away those contracts. I think he's going to keep them because those are his guys. And if he can get James Bradbury and Leonard Williams and all these players that he traded for, if he can get them playing well and all those contracts he acquired playing well, that's the only way he can probably try and save his job at this point. And if we keep him around, my fear that I've said on this stream earlier is that he's going to go into the trade deadline and he's going to try and buy instead of sell to try and get some sort of wins at the end of the season and try and get another year. That's what I see happening.
Well, that's going to happen anyway, though. Y'all got to understand, like, we're not going to get swept by the Eagles. We're not getting swept by Washington. We're going to win like 4 games anyway. So we're not getting, like, look, check this out on my stream, right? I went through and looked at how trash the NFL is right now. Y'all know the Giants aren't even in the top 5 right now, as far as our pick goes.
Predicting for picks?
Yeah, like, you understand there's like 7 teams who have 1 win or less right now? Like, it's a lot of trash teams. And then I haven't even talked about the sorry 2-win teams like that are in our division. I mean, there's a lot of trash teams in the league. We could legit win 3 games and have the 8th pick. You know what I'm saying? It's that bad. Like, how many games y'all think the Jets gonna win? The Lions, the Dolphins.
No, you know what? The Lions have been playing better than we have.
They have, but
a lot of teams. I totally understand what you're saying. I just want to clarify. The Lions have been playing better fucking football than we have.
Yeah, and I had said in my stream earlier that if the Giants were to play the Lions tomorrow, I wouldn't feel safe penciling in the Giants as much as I would love to, because I think that we have more talent. But I don't know. They're playing hard, man. They're playing hard for that, man.
We'll never hit Stafford. I mean, not Stafford. Golf. Golf got all data, bro.
Yep.
There's a stat on Twitter. One of the Giants beat reporters put it out. In the last 100 passing snaps, the Giants have 1 hurry. Let that sink in. 100 pass plays. We have 1 hurry.
Is that
real? Hurry?
1 out of 100.
Someone brought that to my attention on my stream, and my mouth dropped. I didn't even know that.
I didn't even know that. That's incredible.
Pathetic.
I mean,
pathetic.
Listen, I think with the pass rush, we all know exactly how terrible it is. The stat really just brings the perspective there. For me, that speaks to the fact that not only do we not have the talent, because Gettleman has refused to invest in the edge position, it's also just the fact that at this point we're not using our guys correctly. Why is Leonard Williams being used in the 5 tech on a lot of snaps? For me, it's like the best way forward for this pass rush, in my mind at least, with the guys that we have right now, and I've said this to Kush a lot before, is to move Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams into traditional defensive tackle spots, draft an edge rusher and put him across from Azeez Ojulari in 5 techs and move to a 4-3. That's the best way forward in the pass rush in my mind. But at the moment, we're sticking in a 3-4 while also having Leonard Williams out of position, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, I was on the Twitter space with Pest, and somebody brought this up, and I'm gonna agree with Pest here. It doesn't really matter what scheme we're in. Like, we just need to find a way to get pass rush for me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But we don't want it, though. Y'all asked for something they don't want. Remember, 2 years ago, when we hired Graham and we hired Judge, they were because remember, we wanted a pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
That was the year we took Andrew Thomas. Graham and Judge were in unison. We want to cover people. We want coverage sacks. We want our coverage to dictate the sacks. They didn't want an edge rusher. They were blunt about that. They didn't want an edge rusher. Graham and Judge said we're going to cover people, and our coverage is going to lead to sacks. So we want pass rushers, but are we sure the coaching staff does?
That's a good point.
I mean, that's kind of the theme of everything Fisk has been saying so far is what we want and what we see we need is not the same as what's going to end up happening, which is
Bingo.
just the ride that you might call the Giants fan experience that we've been on for quite some time. And again, we've ended up right back at the same spot of, listen, guys, it's tough, it's bad. Eventually, whether it's a blind squirrel eventually finds a nut type deal or not, we will eventually not suck. We'll get there. It'll take forever, but we'll get there.
Hit Squad, any last thoughts before I pop you out for Miz, man?
No, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Hub, for having me come on. Fisk, keep doing your thing. Nate, keep doing your thing. I appreciate y'all boys for real.
All right, be safe, man.
For real, man. Have a good one. Peace. Before I pop Miz on, I did see Joseph Clark in here for a second, man. And go ahead, call back in if you want to. But Miz, what's up, bro? Welcome on to the stream.
Man, what's up? What's going on, guys? How you doing? What's up, Fisk? Never got the chance to talk with you.
Hey, what's going on, man? What's up?
How are you, man?
Hey, Miz, yo, real quick, yo, we rocking the same champion, bro. All right, go ahead, man.
Listen, man. I'm going to tell you this, man. And here's the thing. This is exactly what's going to happen. You guys won't believe me, but I'm telling you right now. You look ahead at the schedule. Tell me when the Giants get healthy, they're not going to roll over about 4 of the last 5 games. And that's going to be enough to, hey, you bring Judge back one more year. What are you going to do with Gettleman? Listen, I've been a big supporter of David Gettleman. Everyone on YouTube knows that. I don't blame him for a lot of this dirt and crap. I blame the ownership. But here's the thing. I understand it might be time to go in for a younger GM, a new direction, because it's a different day and age of football. I get it. So I've opened up my mind to that. We need a younger GM. And David Gettleman, listen, David Gettleman has been known in the NFL for over 30 years as a big-time scout. He goes out there, scouts his own players. He shows up at the fields, watches them. The last 2 or 3 years, the guy developed cancer. He got sick. I guess he's not out there in the field hands-on anymore. Things are changing. So you want to go with a younger GM? Probably makes sense now because we can't keep on going into these broken seasons over and over and over. But again, I don't want to make an excuse, right? But we did suffer major injuries here. We didn't lose a couple of average players. We lost our starting players, stars that we spent money on. There's a lot of injuries here, and like Hub said earlier, and I've been banging on this for a few years. And this may sound stupid, and you may think it has nothing to do with football. The Giants are playing on one of the worst turfs in America. Bottom line, man. And if you want to go back and look at the history over the last 5 years of how many knees and ankles have been lost on this turf, not just Giants, there's players around the league that have been talking about this. And it's probably not just MetLife. The league got to do away with these turfs because these players have stronger legs, bigger muscles. They are faster than ever. And they like to wear these extra long damn cleats on this turf that doesn't give. Now, I heard Carl Banks the other day talking about it finally the other night. Maybe he heard me. I don't know. But he said that up in the upper organization, he knows for a fact that Mara and the Jets ownership are talking about laying down natural grass next year like they had years ago. I really hope they go there. I know this sounds really stupid, like kid shit. But this field is ruining our seasons, man. We invest a lot of money in these players, and you're watching players go down at an alarming rate. It's ridiculous now. Yeah. You know, I know we're talking about a turf. It's stupid. But damn, you can't ignore these injuries anymore, man. Yeah, just the other day, that could have been a game until Tony broke his ankle. Or whatever he did to his ankle, man. That was looking like we were going to give them a game, man. He was looking like a threat, like a problem for the Rams, and it opened up the other players, even if they're just average receivers. But guess what? The guy tears his ankle or whatever happens on the 4th or 5th play of the drive, and you could have shut your TV off right there, and we all know it.
Yeah, I think first off, it's not stupid. If it's important, it's not stupid. Maybe the thing that makes it sound stupid is the fact that the problem is stupid, because it is. And I think you're on the money here in the sense that a lot of the reason we have turf in the NFL is because natural grass, for a football purpose at least, is really expensive to maintain. And owners don't want to shell out that cash, which is stupid because they are the Mara and Tish family. You have the money.
Remember, you got 2 NFL organizations in this stadium.
You're breaking up.
Not
I think
expensive.
he's saying the same thing I was earlier, though, that it's the Giants and the Jets. And at the
Yes.
same time, yeah, that makes it more difficult to maintain. But still, that was something I brought up earlier for a reason why it might be difficult to get natural grass in there. Still, even more to the point of now that's 2 owners. Whatever money it takes to maintain that grass, there's no way you don't have that money. I fail to believe it.
Miz actually brings up a good point because the people in San Francisco complain about their grass. The people in Pittsburgh complain about their grass. It's a couple stadiums out here. Remember in Oakland before they moved to Vegas, they complained
Oh,
about
it was
the turf.
terrible. Yeah.
They played on the baseball field. So now Miz is on to something. There's definitely a couple. There's a few stadiums in the league that need to be I don't know what the word is when you put regarding to something. I don't know when you talk to grass and turf, but yeah, it's definitely some stadiums in there.
Yo, Fisk,
And
I believe me, I don't just throw this out there. I've done my homework. Okay, check it out. Washington plays on natural grass. Denver plays on natural grass. I'm giving you a couple of teams. Miami Dolphins on natural grass. One of these teams lose half their starting team. And we've been doing this for 2-3 years now. We've been watching major injury after major injury. Arizona put a lot of money into their stadium. When they built this new stadium a few years back, or a decade or so, whatever, did you know they built a natural grass field that they maintain every day? And the grass field slides in and out of the stadium. Underneath it, they got a turf. They slide the grass outdoors into the sun. They water it. They maintain it. They slide it back in for game day. I don't know if you knew that. You tell me we're in the New York City, New Jersey area, one of the most wealthiest places on the planet, with 2 major organizations. Okay? Don't talk to me about no money. These 2 teams can easily come up and lay down a natural grass. And it doesn't have to be the most beautiful grass. I don't mind if there's some dirt spots like we had back in 2000 when we dominated the NFC Championship and went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think at this point, a lot of people in chat might be thinking, "Oh, he's getting super heated." Good, he should be. This is ridiculous, man.
This is frustrating, man. They're watching this crap. Well, we'll get into the garbage after. I'm just bringing up a point that a lot of people haven't really brought up, but there have been a couple people on the radios, and Carl Banks has talked about it last week. So it's real.
It absolutely is. And also, anyone that has played on both knows the difference. If you've played football on turf and then on grass, you know turf doesn't give. It feels different. The thing a lot of people don't understand is what Miz was bringing up earlier, which is just how explosive these guys are and just how much force they're putting down into that turf. And since it doesn't give, right into those ligaments and those tendons. And something that I've been harping on for a while now is that we're coming to a point in athletics, and Saquon Barkley is a perfect example of this, where guys are hitting the absolute maximum of what the body can achieve. And at that point, if you keep building muscle and keep building explosiveness and keep building the amount of force you can put into those cuts, what you can't build is your ligaments. At some point, they're going to hit a breaking point. That's why we see so many ACL tears these days. That's why we see so much crap like that happening. Your muscles, all that stuff can be built up. Your tendons, your ligaments, your avascular tissue, that's not going to change. So maybe for people that don't know about this, a lot of people understand anabolic steroids, right? They build up your muscles and stuff. A lot of players who take anabolic steroids tear tendons and ligaments super easily because that's not getting strengthened. There's no reinforcement there, and all of a sudden you're tearing muscles off the bone.
Go ahead, Fisk, if you got anything to add to the grass turf or even the more scientific thing that Nate brought up.
Nate lost me with that. He threw them big words out, and I was done.
I appreciate that though. That the ligament stuff is something that I did not know until Nate brought it up.
No, it's true.
Yeah. Listen.
Yeah, and on that note, I have gone through about as much water as I have. I am going to call it for the day. I'm just about ready to not talk for 24 hours. So
yeah, man.
With that said, I've enjoyed talking to you guys, Fisk, Miz, Hub, everyone that's called in. Thanks for chatting with me. Hang in there. It's gonna be okay.
Be safe, man.
Adios.
Have a good one, Nate. Thank you for tuning in, Miz. Man, what you got for us regarding the team itself?
Yeah,
Front office, coaches,
talk about
anything, man.
team. I just want to throw out there. I know she's watching down in Florida. My fiance flew down there 2 days ago. Her father passed away this morning, and I know she's watching. So I love you, Deb. I know you're watching us. She's a football fan herself. Unfortunately, I got to deal with her because she's a Patriots fan. So
I hope she's doing all right, man. I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, he's in a better. They say he's in a better place. So, man, it's really hard. What's up, Authentic? It's really tough. When you get up every Sunday and you just don't have the emotions where you want to get up and take a swing at the TV or run to the gym, and a whole routine. I'm sure we all have our little ritual routine Sunday mornings, and then you know that you really don't have meaningless football coming up. You really don't. Yeah, maybe the Giants will roll off 3 or 4 in a row in the second half of the year when they get their players back, and then we'll have a false excitement. But once again, man, it's before Halloween, and what are we looking forward to? We're looking forward to the draft. We're going to be scouting players, and we've been doing this shit way too much the last few years, and this ain't New York football Giants type of thing. I'm telling you right now, go watch my video today because I called out Mara. It's on him. He cares about the team because he put the money in the team this year. He's got to make the right changes, and it's going to be upstairs. You want to blow the whole thing up? Blow the whole thing up. I don't see how you're doing half and not the other half. We did this already. You know, I love Gettleman. And I supported him, and I feel like he tried his best to turn things around the way he knows. But maybe he's an old school guy, and maybe 20 or 15 years ago doesn't work today anymore. The players are different. Kids are different today than we were when we were younger. It's not as physical as a game, and maybe you got to deal with these players differently. It's not like the Giants don't have talent, but something's not right here, and it looks like it's deep in the organization, and it probably goes back to the way Mara pushed Coughlin out. You've heard me speak about this before, and beyond that, you know, the whole Eli ordeal, and then he kind of forced Gettleman to go draft Barkley because he felt he owed Eli another run, so they tried to do it that way. It didn't work. The Odell thing, we pissed him off with the losing. We kind of lost him, and then he also did a couple of things wrong, so you moved on from him. And once again, Mara loved Odell because, of course, it was a big business thing. I mean, we were selling more jerseys. We're winning 5-6 games a year, and we got 5 primetime games. Of course, Mara's going to love that. He never had a taste of that. So it was a business thing. It didn't work out. And it's a domino effect, man. It's one thing after the other. I've told you guys this before. Maybe some people know this. Maybe some people don't. Mara asked Gettleman to take a step back in the draft last year and allow Judge to pick his apple. He wanted the wide receiver. Okay, listen, Tony could be a beast. We all see it. Mara would have drafted Parsons. I know that for a fact. Not Mara. Gettleman was going to draft Parsons, a guy that you all know I was crazy about, and now you're watching basically what Parsons is doing for that defense in Dallas, okay? And it makes me sick. So, listen, where are we headed for? Dude, we got to know before the season ends. Fisk probably agrees with me. You got to know before the season ends, what are you doing next year? Are we sticking with this regime one more year, or are you splitting it up? Because if you know what you're doing in the next 3 weeks, you start trading a couple pieces, like you said earlier. You get a couple middle round picks, whatever you could get, and you start stacking up for this next draft. Because if we're gonna cut the regime and start with a new GM and maybe a new coach, are you keeping Jones? The new GM doesn't want Jones. I'm a big believer in Jones. I think Jones can be a real good quarterback. You got to go stack the O-line. I've been telling you this for months, and we have not done a good job. You had Jones sit for 4 backup linemen. You had Jones behind 3 backup linemen this past game, right? And one guy, Cunningham, who they picked up out of a supermarket on Friday, okay? Let's be serious. We could have got this guy Jones killed. If I was Jones, I'd hand the football to Judge and say, go to hell. I'm not going back there again until you get me a real-looking lineman. That's a fact.
What you got, Spiz?
All right, so here's the problem with what you said, Miz. You got to understand, like, as bad as the offensive line may seem, when Andrew Thomas was healthy, the line was fine.
Thomas is nice. No doubt about it.
But the biggest issue on the Giants, and I don't know if he was in here when I brought it up, is the pass rush. The last 100 pass attempts, the Giants have one QB hurry. That's it. Out of the last 100, let that sink in. Out of 100 pass attempts, we have one QB hurry. Our biggest issue is the pass rush. We need edge rushers badly. So if we're in a position to choose between offensive line and defensive line, we got to go edge rusher. Now, we have 2 first-round picks. You know, we can get the kid, what's his name? We can get, I don't know if Evan, it depends on what the Bears finish, but we might be able to kill 2 birds with one stone. Maybe we can get Evan Neal. Maybe we can get Thibodeau both, depending on how trashed us and the Bears are. But what I'm saying is, like, if you have a choice between Evan Neal and Thibodeau, I understand our line is trash, but God knows we need a pass rush. We have too many good players in our secondary to not have a pass rush. Like, I don't even think our secondary is as bad as people want to make it out to be. Just they can't cover for 10 seconds. You know, at some point, we got to hit the quarterback. This is Giants football. This is Strahan. This is Ozzie. This is Tuck. This is Human Yor. This is Lawrence Taylor. This is JPP, for crying out loud. Like, we're the Giants. We hit quarterbacks. That's what we do. So for us to not have a pass rush is borderline disgusting. And that's the main thing. The main thing that needs to change on this team. Before we do anything, we need to address that.
I agree with you 100%, man.
And Miz, like
if we get
Miz was
lucky
saying,
and get the kid from
Oh, go ahead.
Oregon, we strike gold. If we get lucky and get that defensive end from Oregon, you strike gold. You get yourself a powerful defensive end, which we haven't had here since we had the Strahan, OCs, and Tucks. So the Giants need to get back to our history, which is the trenches, and get some big passing defensive end rushes. Get yourself a dog at linebacker. We don't have that, man. Martinez is a hardworking blue-collar guy. He don't intimidate other teams, man. You got to get an intimidating linebacker. It's been a long time, man. You want to say Antonio Pierce? That was the last guy.
But you know what, though? I'm glad you brought up drafting a linebacker because you brought up Parsons. Nah, we needed another receiver because at the end of the day, if we didn't have Tony, we'd be in trouble because Galladay can't stay healthy. Soon as we lost Galladay, if we didn't have Tony, we're the 2020 Giants again. The minute Tony went down on Sunday, our offense was dead. Soon as we lost that receiver, the offense died. So whether it was Devontae Smith at 12 or we took Tony, we had to get another receiver to go with Galladay. We had to. Look at this, right? This is how sad it is. Our top 5 receivers have all been hurt. All of them. Let us see it. Everybody. So we got Galladay. He got hurt, right? Galladay got hurt. Shepard got hurt. Slayton got hurt. John Ross got hurt. Tony got hurt. Then we go to the tight end position. Evan Ingram was hurt to start the season. Now Saquon Barkley's hurt. We are I've never seen a team just be this hurt. Like, I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, how hurt can one team be? And people want to blame Daniel Jones. I'd throw my hands up and give up too if I was Daniel Jones. I mean, damn. What is he out there with? The left? I didn't bring up Andrew Thomas, Nick Gates. I mean, we're a freaking infirmary out there. I mean,
Fisk, I watch your videos, Fisk. I hear you out there. I don't talk much in them. I say what's up, and that's it. Here's the thing. Go look at what I just spoke about 10 minutes ago about the turf. Do a little bit of your own research. See what you come up with. Go look at all the injuries this turf has caused. This turf broke Bosa's knee last year on the Niners. Yeah. Bosa suffered that torn knee on the Niners on our turf versus the Jets the week before they played us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was the game that the Jets basically lost all of their defense, and then we played their second strings, and we still got blown out.
The Niners lost a couple of other players too, but Bosa was the big one. You can go look at it, man. It goes back a couple of years. It's not just this year, man. This is too much of a scary pattern. And people want, you come off this beating to the Rams, I get it. And we're 1-5 again. And we have talent this year. We put money into this team. It's supposed to at least be 500 at least. And you say to yourself, How could this happen? And you cannot ignore that these injuries have cost us a couple of games. Every year, are we going to suffer half a starting team, torn ankles and knees every year? Now, listen, it's more than the turf, man. We got to get better as a team, obviously. But I'm telling you, this stupid little turf thing, you can laugh at this. It's playing a role, man. It's destroying our seasons.
Miz. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Fisk. I was going to say, Miz, though, because of time, I'm going to have to pop you out. I'll get Joseph Clark in here. He's going to be my last caller for tonight. Let me get your last thoughts, man.
Yeah, no problem. You know what my thoughts are. This is my thing too, man. I'm going to sit and watch every game this year, man. Okay, I could work on Sundays. I'm going to sit and watch every game this year. And if things didn't happen in my family this week, I would have went to the game Sunday and been really upset. So, But here's my thing. The Giants will get players back. I'm telling everybody in this chat right now, the Giants will get players back. And as the season goes on, we're going to get a better, happier feeling because they're going to win some games and you're going to see flashes of some big plays out of Galladay, Tony, Barkley will get back. You'll see even some of the starters on the O-line. The Giants D will have to get better. It has to. It can't get worse. And the thing is, you're going to come up with a big question in the second half year when the Giants win 5 of their last 6 or 4 of their last 6. You'll see it's going to happen. Are you keeping this coach and this GM, or are we going somewhere new? That's what you're going to come up with. And you're going to find yourself at 50-50 in this fan base. And I'm going to leave with a question for Fisk because I never get to talk to Fisk. Hub, I always talk to you. You know I love you. Fisk, I'm going to ask you a question, then I'm going to get off. I want you to talk about it. If you get 2 or 3 good games out of Barkley when he comes back, I'm not talking about great games. You get solid, good games, and he's starting to look like he was before he got injured again. And a team's going to offer you a 2nd and a 4 or a 2nd and a 5 this year. Some team was in contention, like the Browns, who suddenly need a running back. Are you making the trade?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Absolutely not. Let me tell you why. When it's all said and done, Saquon, at this point, he's damaged goods, which means he's cheap. So as far as Saquon goes, new management is going to put him on a 5th-year option. Depending on how he does in his 5th-year option, it will depend on what we do with him. But at the end of the day, this is the NFL. We own Saquon for the next 3 to 4 years. We get 3 franchise tags and a 5th-year option. We own him. So he can't go nowhere. He can't do nothing. All he can do is pout. It ain't work for Aaron Rodgers. It ain't work for Russell Wilson. I'll be damned if I see it work for a running back. We own them. So as far as I'm concerned, make them play. Because my thing is with Saquon's too good to let go. At this point, now that he's just too good. Like if you would have asked me this question over the summer, I'd have said take it. But after looking at how trash running backs are around the league, oh no, just keep the guy. Running backs are on a dime a dozen no more like they used to be. At this point, just keep the freaking guy. Because I mean, like it's the running. Like even if you play fantasy, let's just do a fantasy sports thing. Running backs are trash. I mean, for real. How many great running backs are in the league right now? Think about that. Like really think about that. So we got Saquon. I say keep him. That's where I'm at with it. But the thing is, you gotta understand, we don't have to pay him McCaffrey money or Kamara money because he's always hurt. So we can get Saquon on a Derrick Henry deal for $50 million. I do that every time.
Yeah, real quick, you are getting a potential stud running back for $7 million next year, and the Giants will franchise tag him the year after. So he's looking at a run where he's got a show. So maybe you're right. Keep the guy, and the gamble could definitely go our way. But again, that'll come down to if we're getting a new GM and what they want to do.
By the way, real quick, you know the best part about the Saquon situation? If we have to franchise him, that means the Giants can't do nothing stupid like franchise Peppers or something. So, you gotta look at the bright side. Sometimes it's like we bite the bullet on his contract, we get rid of a problem. Because the last thing you want to do is extend Peppers or something, So, gotta look at it from that perspective too.
All right,
yeah, thank
somebody
you.
Jump in. I'm gonna be back in the chat. It was nice talking to you guys, man. So hopefully, I don't know what we hopefully for. We'll just see. I'll just leave it at that, man. No doubt. We'll talk, bro. Thank you, Hub.
Take care, man. No problem.
And last but certainly not least, we got Joseph Clark on here. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, gentlemen, how's it going, man? We got the tri-screen going here. Let me see if I can center myself. This is not
Hey,
the first.
Joseph Clark, you're a real
This,
person.
hey,
Get
I
out
am
of
the real
jail.
person. Originally, I wasn't going to come on, but I saw Fisk pop on. I'm like, all right, let me get. This is my chance to get on and actually speak with Fisk a little
Hold up.
bit.
Y'all heard
So,
it here
Hey,
first, man. He wasn't about to come on for me. Okay.
no, hey, I
wow.
love Hub, but I rarely get a chance to speak in person with Fisk. So, big
Yeah.
time supporter. I just so everyone knows, Fisk is actually the first Giants YouTuber that I ever followed. And I remember it was draft night when Daniel Jones was drafted, and I was at a bar. Everyone was bummed out. Everyone's like, oh, laughing at Daniel Jones getting picked. I'm like, well, I want to hear some positive stuff. So I just started searching for uh, positive stuff on Daniel Jones, and there was Fisk's video, Daniel Jones, Peyton Manning with legs, and Fisk. I've been using that line recently with some other people, but I do give you the credit for the line. I don't take credit
Oh,
for making up that line.
thank you.
But hey, listen, I mean, a lot of guys I've been watching for I'm listening for the past hour, and a lot of my thunder has been stolen. But I just wanted to come on and I guess just say something that I had a kind of like a bad feeling coming into the season because I didn't have a problem with the Adoree Jackson signing, but I was concerned that they didn't bring an edge rusher. They got Azeez Ojulari, but the guy just turned 21 years old. He was a second
He's
round
very
pick.
young, very raw.
I didn't expect him to come on like Chase Young, who was like the second pick overall, to come on and make like an immediate impact. So this is a guy who's gonna take a little time, and he plays a different position too. I mean, Chase Young is a 4-3 defensive end. Ojulari is an edge. He's gonna take a little time, but other than that, they really didn't add anything. They did try to make a play for was it Leonard Floyd on the Rams?
I think it was
And
Leonard Floyd. Yeah.
yeah, that was actually one of the first plays they made. So they were trying to get edge help big time, I think there. But you know what? When you really think about, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this at this point, and I get it because it sucks where we are right now. But when you look at like where we started with this rebuild just a few years ago, we really had no one to build around on both sides of the ball. I grew up in the 80s, so when I lost my heroes like Lawrence Taylor, Carl Banks, Phil Simms, Mark Barbaro, those guys in the mid 90s, they were rebuilding and not rebuilding around anyone. They didn't have an anchor. Like you even look at like the difference between the 2000 team when we went to the Super Bowl and say like 2005, 2006, 2007, those teams when we wound up winning Super Bowl 42. We had anchors when we were, those were two very different teams, Super Bowl 42 and Super Bowl 35. But we did have Strahan. We had Barber up until 2006. You had Amani Toomer. You had some really good players that you could build around. You could say, okay, we had OBJ, we had JPP, and we traded them off. With JPP, it was also we switched from 4-3D to a 3-4D. But we really didn't have. It was a complete rebuild from the roots on up, and it was going to take time. There's no way in like a 3-year span or 2.5-year span of 3 off seasons that you were going to get this brand new O line, edge rushers, quarterback, weapons, secondary. It was all going to take time. And I know I'm jumping from subject to subject, but I know we're wrapping up here. I really don't want to see this team overhauled, the personnel that is. I'm not talking about the coaches. That's one thing. But I don't really want to see this team torn up based on this year because I do feel like there's talent on this team. I refuse to believe that all of a sudden Bradbury stinks, that Pepper stinks. He'll probably be gone anyway because it's free agency year. Logan Ryan stinks. I just don't feel that. I do feel like, I know Miz really wanted Parsons. If the Giants had stayed at 12, I would have understood Rashawn Slater, but I wanted Micah Parsons too because I felt like he could be what he's showing for the Cowboys, a really good dog stud who's versatile. And I think that the Giants defense needs that. I mean, we need an edge rusher, but we need like a real stud on the defense. You plop that guy in either at edge or maybe linebacker position like Parsons. And I think it's kind of going to be like the straw that stirs the drink. Like everything is going to kind of come together. I don't think Leo Williams is garbage. I think for a 3-4 lineman, I think he's pretty darn good. And I always felt that losing Dalvin and putting Danny Shelton in there was going to hurt. We had a strong unit on the line. They were young. Leo Williams
We also had a deep one until we traded BJ.
I know, BJ Hill too. And it's Leo Williams is in his prime. And I know they signed a big contract. Dalvin was just coming into his prime. Dex was played well. He's not as good as the other two, as Dalvin and Leo were last year, but he was still good. As a unit, as a whole, they were good. And I completely disagreed with moving on from that. And I think you could have had Adoree and Dalvin if you didn't sign Kyle Rudolph, which never made any sense to me. If you didn't sign probably John Ross for like $1 million, Levine Toilolo, and I could probably find another $2 million out there that we spent that really didn't make any sense. Maybe a Nate Ebner, I don't know. But, I felt like they could have kept Dalvin. He was young. So yet again, what are we going to have to get a true nose tackle? This wasn't, it's easier to replace 4-3 defensive tackles than it is a 3-4, finding a good 3-4 nose tackle. Dalvin proved that he could play it. And the unit as a whole, was good last year. And I didn't like that they moved back from this young unit, that they moved away from it. So I thought it was a mistake, but I had a bad feeling coming in when you didn't have Galladay practicing injury. You didn't have Tony practicing injury. Barkley was coming off a torn ACL. He wasn't practicing, understandable. And but when they finally start after like week 3 or week 4 and things started looking better, and they started, opening up the offense, and the offensive line with just Andrew Thomas alone, this makeshift offensive line. And by that point, by like week 4, they're already like on their 3rd iteration of the line. Gates is down. They've got Price in there, and the guy from Baltimore, the young guy from Baltimore they threw in there, and they're actually giving him pocket protection, and he looked damn good. And the offense was looking pretty good overall. And then you throw Tony in there. That guy looks like magic. I mean, holy cow. That guy looks like OBJ at the very least. I'm not saying he's better than OBJ, but holy cow. Tony I didn't realize how good he was going to be. I was excited when they drafted him, but I didn't know how good he was going to look. This guy looks like, like on fire. He looks like you can't cover this guy. He looks that good. He made even Diggs look. I'm not saying that Diggs is a bad cornerback. He's really good, but he made Diggs look silly at times. So
and one thing that Tony is doing that nobody expected him to do, I just want to add on to the Tony thing, is that like when it comes to making people miss, the speed, the deep threat, he had that. What he did that I didn't expect, I don't think anybody else expected, was the hops. When he hopped over and was mossing people. That's not something he did at the college level.
You know what? He actually had, I think he was 99th percentile in terms of vertical jump. So, the guy's a hell of an athlete. He's incredible. So, listen, it's like I had a bad feeling coming in. I was worried about the defense too, because in somewhat of defensive Patrick Graham, who I thought had a great year last year, was a great defensive coordinator. I think you could only scheme for so long, and he was able to scheme for an entire season. But then you really need to bring in some important assets like who can contribute right there and then, like edge, like pass rush, like Fisk was saying. I think we've had, and I've seen the same stat. I think we've had like one hurry over 100 snaps. I mean, you can't make that up. So, but I think they needed to really upgrade the edge, and they weren't able to do it. I think they made their attempts, but I don't know, guys. Rome isn't built in a day. Nobody wants to hear that. It's ugly. It's ugly as hell. But I don't know. Hopefully these guys hopefully a lot of their key players get healthy over the next 2 weeks in offense, and we see what they can do in the second half and just take it from there. But in terms of like Gettleman, Judge, especially Judge, I'm fine either way. I want to see how the rest of the season goes. You want to keep him for one more year. You want to get rid of him at the end of the season, him and Gettleman. I get it. I think an argument can be made either way.
I mean, Joseph, you brought up a lot of stuff that I agree with, a lot of good points. I'm not sure how I could even respond. With the Dalvin Thompson thing, I said it already. I was wrong about that, man, because I genuinely believed that with the addition of 2 guys there, I was like, you know what, we'll be fine. Man, was I wrong. Now, I don't think the loss of Dalvin is solely the reason we're sucking, but it's one of the reasons, right? But it's like, I think that was one of the most disappointing things for me on the defense side of the ball, because I really expected Shelton to do better. Shelton is a huge guy that gets consistently pancaked, it seemed like. Austin Johnson is doing all right. I mean, at times he seems like our best pass rusher on the line.
Austin's better. He's better. He's better than Shelton, but Shelton's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the thing with Dalvin too is that what stinks is now we have to like get another defensive, like a nose tackle, yet another one. And he's, the guy is also like, they had a good run defense with him there. It's like he was helping push the pocket in the interior, but he was also, they had a good run defense, and obviously with Martinez as well. But that's another thing they can use as another good linebacker. It's like, I thought it was scary as hell. We're coming in and, hey, I thought Tate Crowder looked nice and all, but we don't know if we can trust that. We don't know if we can trust him. He's a young kid. And he was a 7th round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. So I felt like they needed depth of linebacker. We didn't get that. Martinez, of course, goes down with an injury. Then we're really screwed. But with Dalvin there last year, he did help push the pocket with Leo and Dex, but he was also really good in the run game. And that's, you got to start somewhere. If you're not getting to the quarterback, you at least got to be able to stop the run. And they're not doing that. So,
Fisk, anything to add, man?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we just need to go back to our roots. We're the Giants. I said it 1,000 times, bro. Taylor, Strahan, Ozzie, Tuck, all. We're the Giants.
I agree, Fisk, and that's another reason why I don't want to get rid of Bradbury or Logan Ryan just yet, is that I don't want to be drafting any more secondary players right now. Next year,
bro,
it is
like every single draft, we're drafting like an entire new secondary, it seems.
I can't do it anymore. Please, next year, this is a super D-heavy draft next year. You actually have you're probably going to have the largest amount of players coming into the draft this year than ever, because of all the players that took the COVID exemption last year and they went back to school. And it's last year was more of like an offensive oriented draft. It's the exact opposite this year. It doesn't mean that there isn't offensive line talent, and we should take, I'd say, at least one offensive lineman somewhere in the first 3 rounds. But listen, this is a D-heavy draft. Let's draft to the strength of it, and we need edge, we need we need D linemen, and we need linebacker as well. But enough with the secondary. The old saying that's out there, or the one that's been around for 10 years, that you can never have enough cornerbacks. Well, you can never have enough pass rushers, and we used to be in that situation where we were like 5 deep with like Dave Tollefson and Matthias Kiwanuka. Like we couldn't even fit them in. And, by the end of Reese's tenure, it was JPP and no one else, and we still don't really have anyone. Maybe Ojulari can develop into that. I'm not giving up on him. Like I said, the guy just turned 21 years old, like in May, for goodness sake.
Well, here's
what sorry, Chris, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know we're about to wrap up. And yeah, Kush, now it is bedtime for Big Fist. I'm 2 hours past my bedtime, but
hey, man, I appreciate it, bro.
Here's the last thing I'm gonna say. And we won 2 Super Bowls with a pass rush. We ain't win no Super Bowl with no secondary. We won 2 Super Bowls with running back committee. We ain't win no Super Bowl with a 2nd overall pick in the draft as a running back. Okay? Basically, what I just tried to say is we've done the opposite of what won us Super Bowls for the past 5 years. The past 5 years, we built this team the opposite way of how we built Super Bowl teams. We traded Odell Beckham Jr., right? Why did we win those Super Bowls? Knicks was a beast. Plexico went and dominated Hall of Famer Charles Woodson in the championship game. But we're trading away wide receivers that they don't matter, right? So everything we've done the past 5 years is the opposite of what won us Super Bowls. What won us Super Bowls was pass rush. We had amazing skill positions at the wide receivers, especially in 2011. Don't even see, even in 2007, we had rookie Steve Smith, Toomer, Plexico. I mean, my gosh, Jeremy Shockey was still on the roster that year. He just got hurt, but he was still there. I mean, like, the Giants, like, come on, man. Like, Corey Webster and Aaron Ross were our starting corners when we won the Super Bowl. You can't tell me that they were that great shutting down. We didn't shut down Moss. We hit Brady. We didn't shut down T.O. We hit Brady. Like, we didn't shut down Julio and Roddy White. We hit Matt Ryan, damn it. So it's like, yo, we're out here trying to get all these corners. And I'm like, no. If you hit the quarterback, any corner is going to look competent. You could put Darrell Reeves and Deion Sanders out there. They're not covering for 10 seconds. We have one hurry and 100 pass attempts. One hurry. I don't give a damn if we have Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, freaking both Cromarties. It don't matter, bro. You could get the greatest secondary on the planet. If you give any quarterback 10 seconds to throw the ball, somebody's open. Especially in 2021, where every quarterback seems to be able to be mobile nowadays. So it's like, no. At the end of the day, can we just get back to Giants football? Pass rush.
Fisk. Yeah, I mean, just to add to your point, Fisk, you look at teams that have been been notable for the secondaries where they've won Super Bowls. Even, say like the Seahawks and Legion of Boom, they even had pass rushers that can get to the quarterback. Maybe the secondary was like the outstanding unit of the defense, but I forgot who they have. Chandler Jones, I forgot, but
they had Cliff Averill.
Bennett Averill and what was it, Maybeam or something like that at DT. They had a nice defensive line. Nice.
They were getting to the and the Legion. Obviously, the secondary was it was the heart of the defense, but they had guys that could get to the quarterback. So you always need a pass rush. You always need a pass rush, and you want it to be deep. You definitely want to have like 3 or 4 guys. You want to be rolling deep. So
there's no Legion of Boom. Check this out, Clark. And it's like I piggyback off what you said, bro. There's no Legion of Boom without Bennett and Averill rushing the passer. There's no fly zone in Denver without DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Like Talib and Chris Harris. If you put Talib and Chris Harris on the Giants right now, they getting toasted because ain't no quarterbacks getting hit right now.
I know. I agree.
Hey, man, listen, bro. Joseph, as usual, it was great calling, man. Any last thoughts before pop you out? And let's close up shop right here, man.
You know what? No, thanks for having me on, Fisk. It's been great finally talking to you in person. And, listen, guys, like I said, right now all I'm hoping for is I do want to see us win some more games just because I want to see us win more games because that'll mean I want to see in a few games, I want to see our young guys get on the field like Tony, some of our new assets, Tony, Galladay. I want to see Barkley healthy. I want to see what these weapons that we've accumulated over the past few years. I want to see what these guys can do. With Daniel Jones, some semblance of an offensive line, and just going like I said, next draft. This is a D-heavy draft. I really think that's what we need to draft towards is the strength of that draft. Doesn't mean we ignore offensive line like we did last year, Kush. I'm not saying that. But
no, bro. Listen, bro. I want Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson, man. The edge.
I want some bangers on that line. I want to kill the other team's quarterback. Instead of seeing our quarterback get killed all the time, I want to see them running for their lives. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Hey, man. Thank you once again, Joseph.
All right, guys.
Have a good one,
Thanks
bro.
so much,
Joseph. It was good talking with you.
Take care, Fisk. Thanks so much, man.
Hey, man. Once again, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat for tuning in tonight, making a good stream. For sticking with us, just gonna quickly call out some names: Silo, Ash, Andrew, Lucas. Is that Neymar or is it pronounced Neymar? Miz, of course, was in here. Sunday, Edward, all the mods as usual doing their thing. Levan, Super Taj World, Nate, who was in here earlier. Thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, Fisk, thank you so much for popping in, man. Like you said, it's way past the sleeping time for you, man. Let the people know what you got coming up on the channel, bro.
Yeah, man. Look, my Lakers channel, Fisk Vegas Gold. We about to get that popping. On my Giants channel, y'all know I'm about to go hard on the Knicks, you know what I'm saying? So, look forward to a lot of Knicks content on the Giants channel. We're just going to call it the New York channel, you know what I'm saying? A lot of Laker content on my Fisk Vegas Gold channel. And on my main sports channel, just same old. You know what I'm saying? Just throwing them hot takes out there. But, subscribe to Fisk Vegas. Type my name in the engine and just subscribe to all the channels. There you go.
Sure, man.
And follow me on Twitter at Billy Fisk.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter as well. Join the Discord. It's nice. It's pretty fun in there. That's it for now, guys. We're out. Peace.
Peace.